Welcome back to On the Bucket. Today I'm going to talk to you about handling snakes.
Hi! 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 Hi!
Welcome to our channel.
Hello.
If you enjoy learning about reptiles and having a good laugh, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button.
Hit.
Smash it.
Nice.
Smash it.
Nice.
Smash it right now. And don't forget to hit that notification bell.
Hit. Mas. Mas.
Smash it.
Mas.
Okay.
Mas.
I don't know. I saw this comment on a group today on Facebook where someone's asking how much can I hold my snakes, or how often should I hold them, and what's good, what's not. And people literally saying, don't hold your snake for more than 5 minutes or like 5 minutes at a time. I think that that's absolute nonsense and ridiculousness. When we handle the snakes, it's just for us, it's not for them. And I'll tell you, that's a load of nonsense, okay? This snake here, Eve, if I didn't hold her daily, there's no way that she would behave like this. From the time she was born, and she's like now, she's about 7 years old. From the time she was born, I held her every day, probably about 20 minutes each day, and she was scared and she was nippy, and I think some people would say, well, then you should just leave her alone and let her get used to you. But she would have never become this tame if I just left her alone. She would have stayed nippy and she would have thought it was okay. And then I'd have a snake at this size that wants to just bite me all the time, and it just would not be a pleasant experience for either of us. But now this snake is so calm and so chill, I can feed her from my bare hands and not have any problems. It's actually my most popular video, feeding, well, now her name is Steve, because it was Eve. I thought I bought her as a girl. Turns out she was a boy. But Steve basically, look at this. So from the time he was born, I've played with his face like this. I've held him, and you see he's totally fine, like it's not bothering him at all. So he used to bite me 5 times, at least 5 times a day. He would just bite the crap out of me, and that went on for about 3 months. And then after that, he just chilled out and he never bit me again. And it's been years, and I know anyone can hold him, play with him, he can come out, and he's a happy little guy. So, I think that the issue is not us handling the snakes. The biggest issue is making sure that the snake has the right environment. If your snake has the right conditions in its environment, let's say it needs a certain amount of humidity, and then now we're in the winter and it's very dry. So when I take the snake out of its home and then it's out in this environment that's very dry, that's what the issue is. But then all summer long, when it's just like not as dry or as cold, it's not a big issue. Unless certain snakes, they need it to be colder, and if it's too hot, they could die from that. So handling snakes, to me personally, is never the problem. I think lots of people should handle their snakes probably a little bit more than they do. But then there's also like some people that treat a snake like a dog, and that's not right either. You shouldn't have your snake out with you all the time. Like, to me, I think a nice way to keep it balanced is around 20 minutes to an hour. You know, but let's say you watch a movie, because I'll tell people, you know, maybe watch a movie once a week, hang out with your snake, have it with you, and just enjoy a movie. That's about 2 hours. But let's say that's all the handling you do in a week. That's, to me, that's perfectly acceptable. But there's the two extremes, right? There's people saying barely handle it at all, and to me that's wrong. They should have more time out. They should be able to explore. They should be able to have this, you know? Steve loves being out. Like, they're not capable of love, but he likes being out. Like, he just lets me play with his face all the time, and it doesn't bother him. If you would have seen me try doing this with him as a baby, it was just not possible. But he's gotten to like this point where it's just like we can spend time together, and it's like I'm giving him a little head massage. And you know what? I think it feels good. I think he likes it. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe it's annoying him. But if it was, he'd probably go away. But I'm not like, I'm literally, he's chilling there and saying, hey, stroke my head. So, to me, there's a perfect balance of kind of not holding your snake too much and not holding it enough, right? So, if you're one of those people where your snake is basically like your one and only snake and you have it out all the time, that's probably not really that great for it. Unless the conditions that you have it outside meet its requirements. So that's the biggest thing. Are the environmental requirements for your snake the same as when you take them out? Like, are you hanging out in 80 degrees weather, 80 to 90 degrees weather, Fahrenheit? Like, if you are, then yeah, have your snake out. It's totally fine. I love to take my snakes out in the summer and let them go in the grass, and I'll have them out for a few hours. I'd say the two things that I enjoy the most about keeping snakes is having them outside and watching them just do their own thing, chilling, and seeing snake babies. Like, those are my two favorite things. And then I guess probably my third would be taking an animal like this that was just terrified, scared of me, that would not make a good pet for a normal person, would not be a good handleable snake, and then watch them become like this, where I can play with them, we can hang out, and we have a relationship. You know, we've reached this point where he trusts me, and that's, to have a snake's trust is special, and it comes naturally if you have them from the time they're little sometimes, but other times you really have to work for it. And when you have a snake like this, like, because we went through that time where he wasn't okay with me and he was biting me like crazy all the time, there's something that makes him a little bit more special, because it's not like he was like this naturally, and everyone sees him and they're like, wow. I've had lots of people that want to buy him from me, and to me, this is one of my priceless snakes. So they are somewhat solitary creatures, but if you get yourself on a schedule, let's say every day, 6 p.m. you get home from work and you go to grab your snake, if you do that every day, your snake will start waiting for you, and it will start wanting to be held, believe it or not. But you can just see how chill he is. And just to show you, we're going to leave the bucket. This is terrible. We're leaving the bucket. But I didn't give you a Sunday video, so let's give you a little bonus content. Okay? I'm just going to show you now another snake. This is the same type of snake. It's a rat snake. This snake is scared of me. And I just got to go and grab it. She musked me, so... So this snake here is Spirit. This snake doesn't really trust me. Like, she hasn't been nippy or anything, but she musked me, as you saw, so she musked me. But the thing is that I have to go in and grab her really quickly. If I don't grab her quickly, then she'll get into a defensive pose and she'll start striking at me. Once I have her in my hand, she doesn't usually bite me. But she's scared, and the way her body feels is totally different than the way Steve's body feels. So she's slowly getting a little bit more used to me. But it's like she gets into these almost like where her body sits still and it's tense. and she's scared. But she doesn't behave. Oh, Steve never musked me. He would just bite me over and over again. And once she's out, she's a lot better, but she's still tense and she's still scared. So I need to hold her every day or every couple days. And I play with her face. I want to slowly get her to the point that I have Steve to. Like with her, it's funny because she'll actually kind of go back, lift her head up, flatten it, and make herself kind of look like a little cute cobra. But you see, when I try to do what I do with Steve, I try to play with her face, she'll always pull it away. So now you could look at this like I am harassing her and she doesn't like this, and that's fine. If you want a snake that's never going to become like Steve, then you could take this snake, leave it alone, and say, you know, I want to just keep my snakes like wild creatures. And to me, snakes are like that in the wild. If that's how we want to keep them, leave them in the wild. But if you want them to be your pet and you want to be able to have nice interactions, then you do have to break that barrier. And that barrier won't break itself. The snake's not just going to teach itself, hey, guess what? This person's nice and they feed me and they're going to be nice. They're always going to be a little bit afraid. But if you put that time in and spend some time with them, you can help them get over their fear of you, and slowly, with a little bit of work like this, eventually Spirit will be just as chill as Steve is. So that's my little 10-minute ramble for you. A little bit of bonus stuff, I guess, because you get to see some snakes, and I brought the bucket into the living room. But I hope you have a good week.
Yeah, that was wonderful, wasn't it? Now make sure you
Circle.
yeah, click the circle.
Yeah, I did.
And then watch this video or this one.
No.
Yeah?
No.
Yes. It's not that hard. Which one appeals to you more? Is it this one or is it this one?